What's good, everybody here in Chicago? What up, what up, what up? We have a fun and amazing, awesome interview with somebody who I've been dying to get on the show. You know how much I've been talking about Deathloop, how much I've been loving the game. I got a chance to finish it early. Haha, everybody on the internet. But also getting a chance to rock with the man, the myth, the legend, game director of Deathloop, Dinga Bakaba. Yo, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up? Dinga, how are you doing? How's everything going today?
Pretty good. I'm pretty good. I managed to sleep a little bit better this weekend. Tried to stop. It was strange. It was a week of binge reading reviews and binge watching streams and using Twitter more than I've ever had in my life in order to see people playing Deathloop and see what they think. So it's been, but I managed to sleep a little bit this weekend, so I'm a bit better now.
I'm happy you've gotten some rest. I'm sure that you and the team, and it's funny because I remember following you prior to the game coming out, and then seeing how much your tweeting has ramped up. I was like, I can't be mad at it because everything is great. It's like the vibes have been really good around the game. People have been having a lot of fun with it. Everyone seems extremely excited. There's been a lot of conversation around Game of the Year, lots of conversations about just how good the game has been. How are you and the team kind of, pulling all this energy in at this point? How's everything feeling across you and the team?
I think it was phases. The first phase was the shock and the awe, I would say. Definitely, like we were very very excited to see the first reviews, and then it kind of feel like some weird dream end of project dream, but somehow not real. And then people started to comment and play the game, and we watched them play, and then it's like, okay, no, it's real. I guess it's happening. People are dinging it. Which is good, because when you come with something a bit original, a bit atypical, you never know what to expect. Like you can think the quality of your game is good, and playtesters can say something, but since it's unique, a lot of things can impact the perception. Like, what is the zeitgeist exactly that in that period. So yeah, no, I mean we are very very happy. I guess everyone has been consuming as much media as me for the past week, trying to get some actionable feedback and sometimes answer or development question, like, did people get that? Did people like that? What about this super hidden thing? No, they haven't found it yet. So okay, cool.
I guess that's a part of it too, where the conversation for a lot of not only the dev cycle, but kind of the initial PR push was, I have an idea of what this game is going to wind up being, or what you have spoken about and other folks on the team are talking about publicly. But I don't think for most people it really clicked until you started to have those first couple of runs. What was you've been, again, watching a lot of people play and seeing that stuff. What are you learning from seeing people kind of have that light bulb moment for themselves too?
The Epiphany, as we call it.
Yeah.
We call it the Epiphany since the playtest. But it's funny because, okay, so earlier versions of the game were actually more raw, I would say. The beginning was, you're here, this is the ecosystem, try to find out what you can. Like, there was less of a guided introduction in the beginning. So it was a bit rough. The playtest feedback wasn't great yet, but so on an end you're like, ugh, but on the other side people were saying, but wait, when we get it, far too long into it, but when we get it, it is magical. There is this epiphany, and that's great. And then it was not great. So the epiphany was the best thing about the game for the very very first versions. So our job as a team was, how can we ease player into it so that they get, but not too much, because we still want them to get the epiphany moment. Like, how can we preserve the epiphany and still have a more gentle, even if you're confused more gentle easing into the game, and that's what a good part of the team has been working on to get right. So again, watching the streams, it was not everyone. It's not the same number of loops for everyone, but at some point, when people get it, they often feel. And that's a good thing, because it wasn't just an epiphany of oh, this is good. It was an epiphany of I feel smart.
Yes.
Which is I feel smart for getting it. And this is a great feeling to give to our players. Arkane, we are known for trusting our players a lot. We think players are smart. We think it's we can trust them with a good part of how the narrative will unfold and how the gameplay will be renewed every time. And we gave player tools to make sure that they have fun. But when they actually get to the point where I'm using the game the way I feel like I should be using, but I'm also using it the right way because those ways are compatible, you feel smart about it. And that's definitely something we wanted to capture and then preserve. So yeah, we're pretty happy with how it's going.
I remember.
But to your,
go ahead. Keep going. I'm sorry.
But to your initial point, it's difficult to explain that a good part of the game will be your satisfaction for understanding what the heck is Deathloop. You see what I mean? So it's a bit difficult to message around that. But again, like we're pretty glad that people have been vocal about their satisfaction. So it might help people who are on the fence, like I don't know exactly what it is. Yeah. Do it. It seems complicated, but it's not when you're playing and you're going to enjoy it. That's what people seem to be telling to each other, which that's the best thing we could ask for.
Yeah, good word of mouth is always fantastic to be able to have that go. And I had that moment too, where I remember, and my wife came into the room. She's like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "Oh shit, I figured it out." And I said it out loud, really loud. She was like, "What happened?" I was like, "Oh, I was having." Like, not trouble, because the gameplay, the loop of the gameplay that you wind up going through is amazingly smooth. It makes you feel like, and I said a little bit of this in another conversation about the game, was that once you've learned the mechanics, once you've learned the map routes, once you've learned the layout of where enemies may be, for me, there was a really interesting moment when it switched from being the puzzle game to then becoming the speed run game. And that to me was very different. And that was the moment where I was like, oh, this is what I was missing on my first couple of attempts and first couple of loops in that system. How does it, when you think about the pedigree of the games that have already been made by the folks over at Arkane and all the folks by your teams, when you and kind of coming to this new game with a fairly interesting and new concept around what you want the idea around a first person shooter to kind of be, how did you all kind of get from the the kind of previous layers of gameplay that you were in, and then said, hey, we do this thing really, really well, but we want to apply this in this really kind of new and cool way? What were the conversations that you all had in the team, like in the early conceptual phases of what you wanted the game to be?
So it was, I guess we, like my real question was, there is a percentage of people who play our games more than once. They play through Dishonored or Prey twice, 3 times, etc. And there is the people who just go through the adventure and put it down and move to something else. We've observed that the first category usually are the people who love our games the most. Trying to understand why, we got to the conclusion that it's because they get the familiarity with the environments, with the gameplay tools, with the various systems, etc. They get to a level of familiarity that allows them to be creative, and the people who get that are either people who play our games more than once, speedrunners and skill run types of players, and us, like developers, because we've been in those environments so much. And very quickly, the idea was to, again, try to capture that feeling of mastery to help players be creative and to feel comfortable trying different styles. Like very often you finish the game the first time, it's very meticulous stealth, and you're like, I'm going to try a run with the rat power and the wind power and just blow everyone on walls with the wind power and stuff. And it's cool because you finish the game, you're not that worried about the story, and you're just having fun with the gameplay for the fun of it. So we wanted something replayable, and we tried a couple of things, but very quickly the frustration of not having a story that unfolds, character arc, like very quickly it was like, this will not feel complete if there is not a story. So okay, how can we have replayability and getting to mastery, to familiarity, be the core of the experience, but have a story that never goes back, that you don't have to go through several times. So that's where we came up with the time loop. That's why the time loop existed, because it allowed us to have a world that repeats. So it gives me the same opportunities as much as I want, but the story itself is only going forward because the character doesn't forget. So anything that you learn, it's permanent. Any conversation you've had with Juliana, it's permanent. It's not something that will happen again. And that was, I guess, that's what is at the very, very core of the concept, at least on the conceptual level. Then the rest is problem solving. How do we do this? Well, but how does economy work in a world that repeats itself? Wait a minute. So I guess you cannot plan in your day anything that will take more than one day, unless it's something immaterial, like you getting better or you learning more things. And those people are forgetting. So we are going to tell all those tragic little stories of people who would, who with more time, would be having something experience. So trying to come up with all those little stories in the world of, you think it's a good idea, but it's not. This kind of, utopia gone wrong. Like it wasn't an utopia even to begin with. Like it was a weird plan. Let's be immortal by having the same day repeat, and going to the absurdity of that, of not wanting to go forward, to grow up, to face consequences, push to the extreme, and that's where we got the world and the problematic of the world. So that's the two big aspects: the world, the fiction on one side, and the gameplay concept on the other side. I guess that's where the collision between those two things is probably what Deathloop is.